Welcome to the Four Brewers Podcast. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I'm joined by
Jason Harris,
Greg Nagel,
and Tim Mather.
This week on the show, what are we doing on the show this week?
You guys explained it. You guys were on one.
I was building some Lego, and I wanted to do some cheap beer on the show this week. Tim mentioned maybe we buy beers from 7-Eleven. Was that how it went down? Tim, I think you kicked this whole thing off with relating this to the Wall Street Bets GameStop drama, right?
I figured we'd just see if we can, bump the stock of some cheap beers, and 7-Eleven kind of came into play as the corner hub of cheap beer.
So 7-Eleven is to GameStop, and the beers are the cheap stocks that you're buying.
7-Eleven beers are penny stocks, right? And and we were like, what is the GameStop of beer? And you're like 7-Eleven, like they're everywhere and they kind of suck.
Yeah. So that was kind of the theme. I tried to explain it over and over again in my head, trying to figure out how to do the intro for the show, but I couldn't quite relate it to what's going on. And I don't really want to get into the whole GameStop thing. If you've been paying attention to anything in the media, you know what's going on.
Well, see, the Brewers Association is shorting macros, and by giving macros from 7-Eleven the 4B bump, we're going to squeeze the Brewers Association, and then we'll get rich.
Exactly.
I just read an article this morning that Olympia, Olympia beer,
they're
out of business.
Yeah.
So we did it.
All right. Is it time to sell yet? Like, I'm holding the line.
Huddle.
Yeah.
No, the key to being in like crypto or like Wall Street Bets is that you care more about updoots than you do money.
Yeah.
So you'd be like, I got $10 million. I could get my mom out on her dialysis finally if I sold, but I'm holding forever. Memes, and then everyone upvotes to the left.
Just a little backstory, if you don't know anything about what's going on. It's getting into the world of short selling stocks, and
just Google it. Like we're not going to do a good job of explaining.
Basically, GameStop, their stocks were at like $18 a share 2 weeks ago, and now they're still sitting around $320 per share. Trading's closed right now. But the point is, hedge fund people make bets on stocks that if they borrow it at this price, pay a fee to a broker, they are thinking, it's going to go down. Once the price goes down after I sold it for this higher price, I can buy it back and give it back to the person I borrowed it from, and I'll make a profit. And right now, Redditors are basically flooding Wall Street, buying as much GameStop stock as they can.
So is Ja Rule.
Thus inflating the price, making it to where these people that sold shares for $18 a share, hoping for it to go down, now have to buy it back at $350 a share. So they're making no money. Melvin Capital, quote unquote, went bankrupt last week, but they immediately got bailed out by another hedge fund.
And if you get really into it, the reality of like the little guys are taking down the big guys isn't really what's happening. More likely, a bunch of dumb fucks on Reddit are going to be holding the bag while a bunch of other people come out with money.
Yeah, the latecomers to this whole thing that are gonna, that bought in at GameStop at $300, they're gonna lose their shorts once the announcement is made to dump the stocks and get your money. So it's been interesting. I've been following it. It got me kind of interested in the stock market. I bought my first share of Apple stock, which is fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your single share.
Talk about late to the party.
I bought one share. So I'm an investor in Apple.
You're really getting in. Now you got to do disclosures every time you mention a Mac.
Greg's true. He's so right, because I remember my bass player in my band in 2006 when he was 20 years old, talking about how his grandma bought him like 100 shares of Apple stock. And back then it was like maybe $10 a share, and now they've split the stock. So right now it's sitting around 130, but if they didn't split it, it'd be right around hovering under $300 a share right now. So he made some money, and that was pretty smart. I'm going to get on Dogecoin for fun too, because it's so cheap. I'm going to buy $20 worth and just sit on it and forget about it.
You could do a lot more fun shit with $20. You could buy beer with $20 and then drink that beer and then feel good.
That's true.
Just ways. If you're really interested in wasting money, I've got lots of creative ways for doing it for you.
I just like, I like knowing that I own some Dogecoin that does not actually exist. So
Dogecoin.
Jason needs a new video show, Ways to Waste Money with Jason Harris.
That's right. You can waste money all sorts of ways.
That'd be pretty fun.
Dogecoin was $0.007 per share, and now it's up to $0.04. So for about a nickel, you can own some Dogecoin.
You too can own a meme.
Can you pay me to not own Dogecoin? I'll pay $10 to never hear about Dogecoin again.
Likewise.
10 years from now, Jason, when it's $34,000 a coin, and I'm like worth $156 million, you'll. I didn't do the math.
Like Bitcoin is basically like, as soon as one guy who's got theoretical Bitcoin billions cashes out, the whole fucking market implodes. It's all just a fucking Ponzi scheme.
I learned that money is made up and it's not real.
That's true.
But that guy with the $1 billion in Bitcoin lost his hard drive in the dump, so that's where he's going to be the rest of his life, trying to find his password.
Those are some tragic stories, man.
God, man, could you imagine?
Anyway, back to the beer. That's again, this is loosely related to that. This was just an excuse to buy some cheap beer and some 7-Eleven beer. And I will say, my journey to 7-Eleven was quite successful. I forgot that there's one only 2 miles down the street. And I was Jason was posting in our private Discord chat how he was having difficulty finding singles. The one I went to is just a fucking gold mine of singles.
So it was exactly what I was envisioning. That is what I get if I go to like AMPM or something, which is just a couple doors full of tall cans of singles. And every fucking, I went to 2 different 7-Elevens, and everything was in 3-packs. Like, look at this shit.
Yeah, in the live stream, I posted Jason's photo.
Dude, the taquitos thing on the cooler. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah, the photo that Jason sent, it's all 6-packs and shrink wrapped tall boys, basically. And that's what my AMPMs look like around here.
Yeah.
The one 7-Eleven, they had 805s that they just took plain ass clear shrink wrap and stuck 3 of them together.
Oh, really?
It's not even like from the factory that way. They're just like, fuck it. And it was
that's jank.
And it was like $12.99 for 3 805s. I was like,
you went to the wrong 7-Eleven.
Right? That's what I left.
I like how you I like how you people out in suburbia are like, oh yeah, there was a 7-Eleven like 2 miles away. I'm like, dude, it's literally on the other end of the block from me. Like I live on the same block as a 7-Eleven.
I forgot where the one near my house was, and I couldn't think of the closest 7-Eleven. And I was like, am I privileged or am I in the boonies? Like, I think it's more in the boonies, but yeah, 2 miles away. It's not like the big city where it's away.
Within 2 miles, I could get to at least 4.
Oh, okay. I was driving down Chapman and Orange, and I was like, I passed one, and I'm like, don't turn around. There's probably another one up ahead. And sure enough, there's one like 4 blocks up.
Exactly.
Yeah. The beer list is kind of mad. It's a mix between like Lagunitas and Firestone are probably your best, and New Belgium.
Yeah.
Are your top 3 craft-ish brands. And then the rest is like cheladas. And Mexican lagers, and that's about it.
I was fairly surprised with the with the quote unquote crafty selection. There were a couple of locals in there for me. I picked up one from Santa Monica Brewing Company. I'm not sure exactly how large their distribution is, but as far as I know, it's pretty small. So it's kind of cool to see something that local. I mean, being local, they probably have some sort of a local 7-Eleven connection, but it was still neat.
For me, the most craft thing that I could find was Sierra Nevada. Hazy little thing. That beer is everywhere. It has infected like the beer market. I think it's a great beer for what it is. And then right behind Sierra Nevada is New Belgium with their Voodoo whatever IPAs. Like both of those companies have done really well with saturating the market and putting their beer literally everywhere. And I think the king is 805 at this point.
It does feel like they've finally realized that Voodoo Ranger should be their hoppy beer line and stop trying to make like cherry limeade Voodoo Rangers and shit.
But I also I know it's not in the crafty area, but Golden Road also pretty much cornered the market on 7-Elevens with just about everything they make.
But again,
they have a deal with one distributor, and in Orange County, at least, it's the Bud distributor, Straub. I didn't see much of anything else.
So I'm going to kick things off with a new beer for me. This is Firestone Walker's 805 Cerveza. This is...
Oh, I saw that. I almost got that one. I was like, wait, what's this white can?
That's it came out, I want to say last year, I think. It's definitely not 805. I think it's like it's a different recipe, but they make it with lime.
Sounds like it's a Mexican lager with lime.
Yeah. And it's when you think about beers with lime, typically the lime is very overwhelming, and this is not. This is a nice, subtle hint of lime in the back, enough to kind of give it a little bit of a kick, like you had a Corona and you put a squeeze of lime in it, kind of thing. It's very well done, and I would expect nothing less from Firestone Walker. Like if they're going to make a beer with lime, it's going to be the perfect beer with lime.
It is crazy how dominant 805 has gotten. Like just... I don't know what it is about that beer. Is it just the combination of it being like decent beer in a cool can? Is it just...
It's decent beer, great branding, and in every 12-pack you get a free huge ass sticker. And if you work in construction, literally everybody has it on their lunchbox or their hard hat. It's everywhere.
And it's not exactly expensive as far as I've seen. So it's also pretty
your normal like dollar a bottle like 12-pack. You know, it's like a $12.99 12-pack kind of thing.
It's accessible, and I think plus the fact that you get that hype of like drinking something that reminds you of a regular lager but doesn't necessarily have the name. Kind of, I think there's a little bit of like a hype factor for people who would normally be buying.
It's different, right? It's not like Coors Light or Coors Banquet or any of the mainstream Anheuser-Busch Coors things. I think High Life is one of those beers that's also still High Life and PBR. I think I don't know, 8-12 years ago were like the hipster beers to drink, and I think they've kind of made it through that whole era where people still drink those beers and appreciate those beers. And 805 kind of is one of those beers that came about later on, and I think it's just a combination of it being a good beer and great marketing, and it's people looking for something else to drink that looks familiar. And when you don't know you're seeing 805 stickers on hard hats and lunchboxes, but you are seeing it. And when you go in the store and you see that, oh, maybe I'll try that. It's brilliant that they put a sticker, and the sticker's like a big sticker. It's like a 6-inch diameter sticker, Well,
and 805 is a fairly large area code. I mean, I grew up in the 805, so I know that area, but like there's also just that, I'm sure there's a certain level of like pride of like, I'm drinking beer from the 805.
Right.
I mean, there is for people who are from Ventura, but
yeah,
like around the Inland Empire, people aren't just like, this makes me think fondly of Pismo Beach. It's
the biggest difference between the two beers, the Cerveza and this, is I would assume the Cerveza is a lager and this is an ale. This is like a honey blonde.
Yeah, Greg's got the standard 805, and
yeah,
I think
so do I.
Oh, so does Tim. Oh,
and Jason
and me.
Okay, we all have 805. Shit.
You fucking loser. That.
That's one of the bonuses.
Get out of here with your 805 Cerveza, you fucking loser.
Odd man out.
Yeah, it is weird because this just tastes kind of like your 2010 brew pub blonde ale, but like refined into about as good as that's going to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very much like, I was talking about this the other day, how like beer branding in like, the 2000s to the early 2010s was very much like, lagers, what's that for girls? Come have a real beer. Have our blonde ale. Like there was this big anti-lager sentiment when I was first getting into craft beer.
Mm-hmm.
And this feels like the beer from that era. But yeah, it's got a little more body than your average lager. It's got a little more malt.
I want to say that Firestone Walker brewed Mendocino Valley's beers later in their life, and they had a honey blonde, and I think 805 is basically that recipe.
Minus the honey.
Or I remember there being
honey. They had honey in the honey blonde.
Well, that's why I said maybe it was like honey malt, like to kind of give you that sweeter kind of aspect to it. But
I mean, let's talk about the beer. It's sort of it's very pleasant. It's very dry on the nose. I get like a like biscuity dinner rolls that you would have on like Thanksgiving, like those fresh baked, with a little bit of a floral hop note, and it's very dry and has a little bit of a fruitiness to it on the finish. It's very pleasant.
That like malty sweetness thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Cerveza, I mean, it does have a sweet kind of malt character, but I've had 805 many, many times. I know what you're talking about. And this is not 805 on the nose. This is definitely more stripped down, a cleaner nose, a little bit of a bready malt character coming through, but the lime stands out, I think, a lot. But it's not like dominating. Like a lot of lime beers I've had, like I've said before, it's to the point where it's like you finish a can, you're like, I don't want any more. That was just too much lime. This is a good amount. It's almost like maybe there's not even lime in it. They could say there's lime, and it just puts that thought in my head, so I taste the lime. That's how minimal the lime is in this.
It's beer. Like a LaCroix of lime. It's just like...
Yeah, just a hint.
It's like you're in the other room drinking seltzer while somebody outside whispers lime.
It still tastes like beer. It's very clean. I would buy this again. I recommend this. This is really good. It's a really, really good beer.
Tim, I'll check that out next time.
Yeah, the regular 805 is like a totally serviceable beer. One thing I will say compared to a lot of lagers is it holds on to like a nice foamy head. Like it's been sitting in my glass for a while and just got a nice little healthy kick of foam on there. So it's got a nice nose when you drink it. There's no real hop character to speak of, but
yeah, the Cerveza, I mean, it's what you would think it would look like. It's crystal clear, no head. I mean, I'm not holding that to a fault, but it's good.
I find it interesting. Like 805 to Firestone is kind of like what Arrogant Bastard was to Stone. Like this entire thing where people would probably be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get some 805," and be like, "Oh yeah, by Firestone Walker." I'd be like, "By who?"
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
on the 805 cans that you guys have, the standard one, where's the Firestone Walker name on there?
It's right above the 805.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's how the Cerveza is as well. Yeah.
Yeah, people just don't pay attention to the little letters.
Yeah.
I mean, Dos Equis is not brewed by Dos Equis, but the fucking brewery name is incomprehensible.
Right, yeah.
Mine was made mid-November, so it's got a couple months on it.
Yeah,
still holds up.
Same year. 11/19.
Yep, exactly.
Do we have the same canning run
date? We do, man.
Dude, my can was canned. My beer was canned on January 7th, 2021.
Damn,
fresh.
Your 7-Eleven's got freshies and everything,
dude.
Man,
thank Kevin.
Investing in.
Thank Kevin. I will say, like those beers that 7-Eleven has to stock. It seems like they whittled down their what they had from the last time I was in a 7-Eleven. Like there's not a lot of selection, but I would assume that what they do have moves fairly quickly. So I don't think you're going to get like stale ass IPA or I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you would think they've whittled it down to just what turns over pretty quick, just by necessity, because they don't have a lot of space, right? Comparatively, I feel reviewing 7-Eleven as a market versus other stores, they tend to be smaller than like going to like an AM/PM or like a lot of the other like gas stations. Yeah, and so they have less place to put selection, I guess.
I was offered a slice of pizza for $1 at the counter, which I thought was interesting.
I feel like it's a different lifestyle than the lifestyle I live eating the hot food at 7-Eleven. Like the roller dogs and the pizza, like that is a place I don't know, man. That is not somewhere I want to be in my life.
The hot dogs on the roller have always grossed me out, especially as a Simpsons fan and watching the Quickie Mart. And then in addition to that, I have seen a friend throw up pizza from 7-Eleven. Not that it was the pizza's fault. He was really drunk, but like, nope.
As long as you can, I'd buy the pizza as long as you can get a squirt out of the nacho.
I would actually. That's not a bad idea. I did in high school. We did venture down to 7-Eleven at like midnight to get nachos. So
they used to have one that had a meat. They had like a meat one that you'd squeeze like this meat stuff.
The chili. It was you use the machine. It wasn't even a squeeze. It was a button.
It was chili,
and it like
and it was just like.
Yeah, that is so disgusting.
Like a robot taking a shit on your food.
Put some chili, some cheese, and some jalapenos. You're good to go.
Dude, yeah, like I don't know, man. Like I've never been at a place of hunger where I'm like, can you guys microwave some mini tacos for me?
I'm not shaming people that buy food from 7-Eleven because I mean, as far as food goes for your health, you probably shouldn't eat it because it's probably not that great for you. But it's
I don't
cheap
know if
and
it's
hot.
food.
And I was there, and the person in front of me, she ordered a slice of pizza and a taquito, and rang her up. And the person took it off, and they put it in the little toaster oven thing they have. And she was waiting for her food, and I'm just like, you know what? This is fine. It's like 7-Eleven. I think is the closest thing Southern Californians get to a bodega that you would see like in New York, where. Right?
No, I love that was the whole discourse on Twitter a couple weeks ago where people be like, "Oh yeah, only in New York, baby, a bodega." It's like you just described a fucking convenience store. Like everything about a bodega is just like a convenience store, but sketchy.
But I think a real equivalent to a bodega is like a CVS. But New York also has CVS's. So like in Dwayne Reed, bitch. You know. So it's like bodega and Dwayne Reed / CVS are two different things, but in Southern California, you got 7-Eleven and CVS. And honestly, CVS is one of the worst places to shop because they're overpriced, and it's. I mean, they have stuff.
There's like no upside to CVS.
No, if you need something,
except that they're open 24 hours.
Yeah, in a pinch. Yeah. So anyway.
Like I got to get my blood pressure medication and some Cheez-Its.
I might as well.
It's a good.
And on my way home, I'm going to pick up some taquitos and some chili.
Yeah, if they got some roller dogs at CVS, 7-Eleven would be done.
So yeah, finishing up this 805 Cerveza, great beer. I really handed it to Firestone Walker. That being said, I'm moving on to a beer that I don't even think has been on Cheap Beer Corner yet. It's a beer that I drank a lot in my early days of beer drinking. I built a kegerator with parts from beer, and more beer just to have kegs of this on tap in my townhome with my homie that I lived with. I'm drinking Bud Ice.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a 5.5% premium lager, according to Anheuser-Busch. And back in the day, drinking a 5.5% lager was heavy.
Yeah, that's impressive.
I'm just really distracted by Greg doing home improvement on his camera. I want to address it. He's just, helping around the house.
He's multitasking like the man of the house.
That's right.
He's not even listening to us because he's being a good home dude. It looks like he's dealing. What's he doing? It looks like he's dealing with a plumbing issue, maybe.
Yeah, he's fixing a sink. It looks like.
All right.
Home Improvement Hour with Greg Niggle.
Can you give us like a Tim the Tool Man, like?
We're putting a new bathroom sink right now.
I'm having that struggle right now, but in just adventures in home ownership, the water pressure was low in my bathroom sink, so I took the aerator off and cleaned it, and everything was great. And then I'm like, hey, check out the water pressure. Isn't it good? And then water comes pouring out of the cabinet. And so I was like, oh, somehow just taking the aerator off and on broke the faucet. So then I got a new faucet and had like a handyman dude to come bring it on. And he's like, yeah, your water main isn't working. Like, he's like, I don't want to force. He's like, I don't want to force it. I'm like, let me try this. And it broke off my hand. So, yeah, I can't turn off.
You're talking about the valve on the wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
The valve to turn off. There is no valve at the sink. It's old. It's just a straight pipe. And the main one for the house broke in my hand.
Oh,
so now I have a real plumber coming to fix that and install my new bathroom sinks.
There you go.
Bummer.
Yeah, home ownership. Every little thing you do potentially just becomes $1,000 problem.
That house is got to be nearing 40 years old, maybe older.
Closer to 50. Yeah, it's mid 70s.
Because I moved out there in '85, so it's
Yep.
What'd you guys move on to?
I moved on to Bud Ice.
So the chat wants to know how old the Bud Ice can is. That's a Shark homebrewing. Do they date them? Yeah, I don't know. I know Bud Light has like the born on date or whatever. They kind of popularized dating weirdly.
Okay, the numbers on the bottom of the can say 21008 and then LB 1021.
Wait, no, that's the 8th day of 2021. So January 8th.
Damn, I'm getting freshies, man. This is great. I don't know if I've ever had Bud Ice fresh. I don't know if you missed what I said about Bud Ice, Greg, but this was the beer I drank early in my beer drinking days, and I built a kegerator just so I could have kegs of this. And
Bud Ice, dude. Is that because it had more alcohol, or what makes it ice?
I don't. Well, it has more alcohol, but it's ice conditioned. I think.
What was that? The 90s? That was a big trend where they would just take a regular macro lager, they would make an ice version of it, which my understanding is they just like ice bucket it.
No, it's not even that. They would just amp up the alcohol and say it was cold fermented, and we did this to it.
What does that even mean?
It was cold filtered. It's the whole. So the ice designation was basically saying this is a heavier, bigger alcohol beer, so be ready. And so I think when you drink it, comparing it to like Bud Light or regular Budweiser, it's like Budweiser, but probably a little drier, a little cleaner. Not as sweet.
Well, there's is this you remembering it, or is that you describing it from right now?
I'm just guessing why.
Oh, because it's gonna be dog shit if you try that beer.
Back in the day, there was a beer called from Ice House was the brewery, and there was like similar brewing technique, but I think they did an ice distillation of their lager, so they're skimming off some water. They're like bringing it down so cold that they would freeze.
I thought that's what the whole ice trend was.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
I don't think that was the reality, though. That's too much work. Ice House was my backup Bud Ice purchase.
I went European trash beer, so I have a Stella Artois.
Ooh, fancy! I know 1366, baby.
It came in a box, like unlike the trashy American plastic wrapped beers. This beer came in a little cardboard box for 3 19-ounce cans.
I think going based on John's theme of going towards beer that you drank a long time ago, I bought a Sapporo, which I have not had in some time.
I like
Sapporo.
A beer
that I used to drink that in the 90s. It was like a fancy beer. Like, oh my God, you're getting this fancy tin can thing.
You got it in the can that's impossible to crush on your head because it's like structurally reinforced.
Yeah, like that can, if you try to stomp that can, like, you're trying to compress your recyclables so you can get them down, that can is way too structurally sound.
You might break your knee, like from the impact from your foot.
You got to attack it from the side. You can't crush that can from the top.
That's right.
Sapporo just takes me back to sushi night when we would go down to the sushi restaurant and get the share a 24-ounce bottle.
Yeah, my local sushi place, that's the only draft beer they have. Mm-hmm. So but it's like $1 a pint, or it's like $1 for like a 12-ounce serving.
Well,
but I'm like, I'll buy 5 of those.
Nice. In keeping with the international theme here, I've got Modelo, but the Negro Modelo.
Nice.
This was one of my favorites too, Greg, to your point of like things that you used to drink. Like Negro Modelo was one of my go-tos, in the little fatty, like little fat bottles with the gold foil on top.
The premium bottles.
Yeah, those were solid. That was like my go-to for Mexican restaurants. But
as far as like American food restaurants go, like Sapporo is my like Japanese, like Asian food go-to. And then Negro Modelo is, Mexican food pretty much. If you can't find like a craft alternative, I think they're perfectly fine with and they're cheap, it's pretty good beer.
Yeah, it is.
What's funny is it's very distinct, and it's bringing me back to exactly those times when I had it. What's distinct about it is the finish. It's got this like almost a vegetal, like fresh grassy, like a Saz hop or something like that. Just on the finish, but it's super, super dry, and like your mouth just cleans up.
My personal favorite in the Japanese side is Kirin, which is a tricky place now because there's that whole thing with them. The whole thing with them and like supporting, like the company somehow is involved in fucking shit in Myanmar, and it's all fucked up. I don't know.
Didn't Kirin buy Anchor Brewing?
No, they bought a New Belgium.
Oh, was it? Are you sure?
Mm-mm. It was Anchor, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's Anchor. They bought Anchor. Yeah, Anchor Brewing.
And then rebranded it, and all the bros got mad.
Listen, you guys, I'm not fucking crazy. They bought New Belgium.
God damn it!
Oh wow!
Did they also buy Anchor then?
No, I feel like Anchor was purchased by like one of the. I want to say it's like one of the Sapporo. There you go.
Sapporo. Okay. Oh, it all makes sense now.
Yeah,
it ties
the Japanese macros are just buying up a portfolio of craft brands.
Right. Interesting.
When I think of Japanese beer, I bring this up not to brag, but I did get to tour Japan like 4 times when I was in my band. And
John's like, you guys should know I'm huge in Japan. So
Kirin was not Kirin, but Asahi was the beer that we would always drink for no good reason. It was just there. Asahi Dry was the one that was very popular down there. One thing I remember from a lot of beer drinking in Japan was they had these special taps where you'd get a pint of beer or whatever it was, and they'd pour it, and then they had this little switch that they'd hit on the tap where it would aerate the beer, and they'd cap it off with like a nice foamy cap of head on there.
Yep.
And that was like the premium pour that you could get at the clubs in Japan. It was fun.
Do you remember those ads for Stella Artois where the guy would have like a little like knife?
The saber?
Yeah, and he would like, I gotta chop the foam off the top of this for some
proper serving
reason.
They do the same thing. That's what they would do with the same thing in Japan with those foamy pours. They chop it off. Yeah.
Except I really didn't use a cool saber.
Well, essentially, from I learned this from the drought master of Heineken, who said that all of like the harsh alpha acids and stuff sit on top of the foam, and they don't want their guests to have their first sip be like a bitter kind of foamy mess, so they scrape it off and they cap it. Creates like a CO2 cap. I don't know the science behind it, but that's the reasoning of why they do that.
Oh, okay. That's actually really interesting.
Pretty too.
I want to test that. Like,
it could be a marketing bullshit.
Does anybody have a tap room that we can go to and test the chopped versus non-shaved fucking beer?
Do some experiments. Do a chopped versus non-chopped and see which beer is better blind.
That's right. Just literally have someone turn their back and be like, "All right, left or right? Which one do you like, bro?" If there's any. Well, in a year when we can go outside again, if there's any bartenders who want to fucking take the challenge on that one, we'll. Oh man, Stella Artois is pretty mediocre. I don't know, it's fine.
It used to be a pretty rad brewery, and then Bud AB InBev bought them, and now they're just a huge mass-produced lager, as I assume they were then.
It's got a little bit more like noble hop funk than your average American lager, but it's pretty mild by Euro standards. It's very just kind of like Budweiser with a little bit of noble hop in it. My understanding is, weirdly, it's considered like a premium fancy beer here.
Right.
Yeah.
And in Europe, it's very much like all the white trash guys drink.
I was just gonna say, like, I remember getting into beer whenever we'd go somewhere. Like Stella was the like fancy thing to get. Like if you go to a club, like you get like cheap PBR, and if you want something like better, it was like a Stella, and that was like, you know, obviously $4 more.
If you're wearing an Adidas tracksuit, you're going to be drinking some Stella.
Tim, what did you open? Did you open something?
I'm still working on the Negro Modelo.
Oh, got it.
Which, I mean, again,
that was your second beer. Never mind.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I haven't moved on from there. But similar to Jason, like it's good. It's okay. It does what it does. It's nice. It's got like a really good malty, like a good malty finish coming from the darker part of it.
Going back to this Bud Ice, I'm going to finish this glass because I poured it. I poured probably, I don't know, 6 ounces. It's very sweet. It's okay for what it is. It's got a decent amount of body. It doesn't like smell too cherry-like. It's a little fruity, not boozy. A little bit of a malt character coming through, but this is a beer you got to keep cold. Once this thing warms up, it's gonna turn into some kind of monster, I think, because it's,
yeah, totally.
It's just the way that like sickly sweet character comes through on the palate is just not good. But I could see why I would like this beer when I was like 21, 22 years old, because it's an alcohol delivery method. It tastes
It gets you
fine,
more drunk for less money,
right? And you buy a keg of it a keg was like what, $80? Like a 15-gallon keg was $80 back in the day. Like that's a deal. So
you got your own bucket, steal ice from someone's mom's freezer, and boom.
I mean, it was also a coolness factor too, being able to, and again, I was not into craft beer at all. I knew nothing about craft beer. And so being able to buy a keg and have a keg of beer on tap in my townhome, like, was just really cool.
Having a kegerator up the cool factor like tenfold.
Yeah. I remember being in my early 20s, and we had a party where we were getting kegs, and me and my friend were starting to move towards nicer beer. So we're like, we don't want to just get like a Bud Light keg, and we got a keg of Blue Moon, which was like 5.5%. But people are used to drinking a certain way with the beer they get in a keg, which is usually like a 4% light beer, and adding that 1.5% alcohol by volume, that was the drunkest party. Like it was one of the drunkest parties we ever had. It's crazy. That was fun. Yeah, we were doing like keg stands. I think someone smashed a TV. It was cool. Cool as fuck.
Good old Blue Moon.
Peak early 20s fucking keg party.
Oh my god, man.
That was 45 years ago though. So
let's have a keg party after COVID. Once we all get vaccinated, and
we're doing it, man.
Let's do a kegger.
Hell yeah.
I got a yard. Let's do it.
Let's make some meats.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking of selling my my Keyser. I don't really use it.
Oh.
Well, way to put a bash on that whole fun.
That's fine. Someone else has one. I guarantee I could come up with a tap and handles and everything if we needed to in a pinch.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can use a picnic tap. You're fine.
Yeah, exactly. We just got to drink 15 gallons a night.
I'll bring my CO2 over and it'll be good.
Well, as we've learned, Greg just puts a shout out on Instagram and he's got what he needs.
Yep. Hey, anybody have a kegerator I can borrow for the weekend? And boom, 20 kegerators.
They're like, do you want a festival jockey box? We'll bring it up. We'll be here. We'll be there in an hour. What branding would you like on it?
I owe a lot of favors to a lot of people. That's for sure.
He's got a talented mouth.
All right, so I decided to bring it back local. This is one of the ones we were talking about at the beginning, just the surprising selection. I mean, you've got all your crazy macros, you've got like the larger craft, and then I feel like a handful of 7-Elevens are mixing in some of the local stuff, probably from some sort of local distribution deal. So I picked up here a Santa Monica Brewworks. This is their Incline IPA at 7%. I've had a few of their beers, driven past the brewery a number of times. It's at I mean, they have the address here. I know exactly where it is, but which street?
Take
Colorado. So it's on Colorado and 20th. I used to actually, or Colorado. Yeah. Anyway,
Colorado to the 405 to the 91 to the 10 to the 110,
and then Pico to Las Palmas.
Yeah,
Las
basically.
Palmas to Colorado. And that's how you get to Llama School.
So I opened up a Lagunitas IPA, which is sort of a cheater beer because I bought my tall boy from 7-Eleven, and then it was in the back seat of my car when my wife had to run in Target, and she opened the back door and all the beers fell out onto the parking lot. And sadly, the tall boy of Lagunitas had a blowhole on the side, so I had to open it. While she was shopping at Target, I drank it in the parking lot.
There's nothing wrong. Drinking in the parking lot has definitely been normalized at this point.
And when she was in Target, she bought a 6-pack of Lagunitas IPA. So sort of cheater, but I mean, I did actually buy.
That was nice of her. She made up for it.
Yeah. So we're getting some shit from Leninade about the cheap beer theme getting tossed. Here's the thing. I didn't, because I only had multi-packs to buy, and I'm like, I'm not going to spend $14 for a 3-pack. So I got Dos Equis because it was only like $8 for a 3-pack.
Yeah, to address Leninade, it's not about buying cheap beer. It's more about like accessibility to buying beer.
I mean, it may be a local craft brewery, but it was still cheap.
I spent for my 4, and these are all tall boys. They're either 19.2, 24 ounce, or 16 whatever ounce cans. I don't think they're all tall boys. They're above 16 ounces. I think I paid $9 for 4 tall boys of beer. Like bigger
rules.
And that's not bad.
See, unlike retail investors who can buy individual stocks, I'm being pushed into things that are all pushed together in trenches, like the economic collapse of 2008. Anyways, securities fraud. The SEC needs to investigate 7-Eleven because I want to buy just one beer.
Yes.
Dang.
So I see where Lemonadade's coming from, because like we didn't get all super cheap, junk beers. Like for instance, the beer I moved on to is wrong thing. The beer I moved on to is Hazy Little Thing from Sierra Nevada. And this was canned on 12/16/20. So another freshie. Like I'm 3 for 4 at this point. This is great.
Dang, dude. That's a banger for a 7-Eleven.
It is. I mean, and considering I came off the 805 Cerveza and then the Bud Ice, pouring this, wow, it just smells so hoppy. It's like massively hoppy, and it's not a massively hoppy beer, but coming from those lighter beers, it's if you normally buy beer from 7-Eleven and you want like a hoppy beer experience, this is a really good beer to buy. Because it's not, when you compare it to standard really hoppy craft beers, no, it's not very hoppy on the nose. But when you're coming from something that's like a light lager or Bud Ice, it really stands out. Like it was a wallop of hops on the nose.
Yeah. So my Lagunitas IPA in the parking lot when I opened it, it was extremely dank. Much like it smelled like a fresh bag of weed when I opened it, which was kind of a good thing. Normally, I'm not a huge Lagunitas IPA fan. Obviously, back in the day, I had drank probably a lot of it when they were an independent brewery, but not a huge fan of the brewery. I mean, they make some decent beers here and there, but wow, I was kind of blown away by just how fucking dank that beer was. It was like all up in my face. It had some tangerine notes. It's like Centennial hops, I would imagine. Like old school C hops, and just dank as fuck. So
I bought a 12-pack of Lagunitas IPA 2 weeks ago, which I still have some left. And Lagunitas at this point, they're 100% Heineken. And for them being 100% Heineken, well, I don't like supporting Heineken. I will say that the quality of their beer is still the same. It seems like nothing has changed.
Better. I think the stuff that I've been drinking is way better than I remember it.
Okay.
Like it's like I would be tempted to go back and try a Hop Stupid or
that bodes well because my next beer is actually a Lagunitas IPA that I have not tried. So when I finish this Dos Equis, which is completely unremarkable, it's fine.
Yeah, that's also the problem with cheap beer.
This is the beer that we don't like on Cheap Beer Corner because we either want surprisingly good or shockingly bad. Those are the two sweet spots that me and Matt drink on CBC. And sometimes we get beers where you're like, yeah, it's fine. I mean, like, it's
that. I mean, if you get into, I feel like if you get into just like the Mexican lager corner, like just fine is where you're going to end up for most of it because it's not spectacular. It's not bad. It's perfect for just. Well, I'm sure there are some bad ones, but it's like
Tecate is not good.
I don't know. Tecate with the salt and lime. Come on.
Well, with salt and lime, I'm sure it's fine. But
it's my camping beer. I'm buying a 30 pack of Tecate, and we're going camping.
Yeah,
and you drink it out of the can, and it's ice cold out of the cooler.
So at the 7-Eleven with only multi-packs, they actually had a couple decent 6-packs. They had like Mind Haze and some other stuff, but I've been seeing this thing, the Stereo Hopic IPA.
Oh yeah, I saw that at Labo.
And Mosaic, and I'm like, oh shit. Name. Yeah, I mean,
there's hot puns, and then there's Stereo Hopic.
I forgot how to read their dating, so I can't tell how old this is. But
it's very cryptic.
It's the first 3 numbers, and that's the day of the year that it was bottled.
Okay, 343. So it's like December-ish.
Yeah, December-ish. Yeah, it's pretty fresh.
I love Nelson. I love Mosaic. I used to be like #1 Lagunitas fanboy,
and you got this at 7-Eleven. Yeah.
The first 7-Eleven that I left to go to a different 7-Eleven that hopefully had more cheap stuff.
I thought about going to the shitty Chevron station down the street, but I always complain about that place because they have a pretty good selection of craft beer, and technically they're not 7-Eleven, and the theme was going to 7-Eleven. Mm-hmm. So that's what we were doing because like GameStop.
Because it would be like instead of buying GameStop, you buy you buy like an interest in Jeff's used games down the corner, and it's like, well, listen, this isn't about Jeff's used games.
If you go to the Wall Street Bets subreddit, there was some talk about buying.
Also, don't.
Nokia stock?
Yeah, don't buy it.
Can I make a confession? I bought some Nokia stock as well.
Fuck, John.
Dude. So
I have money to burn, man.
But that's the thing with like I read yesterday. Sorry, I know we're going back, but I read yesterday that they tried to do the same thing with AMC stock, and there was one company that had a shit ton of like debt stock or something with AMC, and they ended up selling, and this hedge fund ended up making bank off of all of the bros driving up the price. So it was like the opposite effect.
Yeah. Think about the hedge funds right now that are buying GameStop stock at $300 a share. Of course it's going to go down. They're just waiting. Like
John's going down, dude. From buying a bunch of Mac cubes to farm Bitcoin and fucking.
Yeah. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting into that shit. I'm spending $200 on bullshit stocks to have fun with this because I'm to burn.
The latest Q drop says that I need to hold the Bitcoin even longer.
No, it's not that. No.
So this Incline IPA has a really nice hop aroma. It's got Simcoe, Citra, Summit, and Eldorado. So it's got a nice little mix there. I definitely feel like the Citra aroma is coming off. Excuse me. Citra aroma is coming off really nicely. And overall the flavor, it's got a good citrus thing. It's very mild, very refreshing. It's not leaving any sort of major hop bitterness or burn. It's exactly they're kind of like an easygoing sort of like we want to brew like beach minded easygoing beers, and I think this fits that exactly.
Since we're talking about canned on or bottled on dates, does your can have any kind of a date on it?
It does not. I was looking, and unless I'm completely missing it, there's nothing on here.
Okay.
This beer smells fantastic. It's got a ton of hop aroma.
And that's the Stereo Hopic, right?
Stereo Hopic, Mosaic and Nelson, yeah. And it is a really solid West Coast IPA. Nice bitter. It has a little bit more body. It's not super dry, but I mean it's still pretty damn pale. And but just a really, really good hop flavor. They clearly got good Mosaic. The Mosaic Nelson hop combo works really well together. I'm glad I bought a 6-pack of this. This is fucking good.
I'm saying, like, Lagunitas, man, it sucks that they're owned by Heineken, but at the same time, it seems like they've upped their game because they have access to so much good stuff. Like, maybe it's like production or ingredients. I don't know. But
see, you start to, that's exactly where you get into this weird spot, because you're like, they were bought out, so we have to hate them. But now they have capital to make their beer even more solid. What do we do?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, when you're at 7-Eleven, buy the best beer you can. And I would say, if there's a Sierra Nevada, I'd probably pick that. But if there wasn't, I don't know if I'm going Voodoo Ranger or Lagunitas.
On flavor, this beer, if this is Sierra Nevada and Voodoo Ranger, this beer is fucking a completely different league. Like, if we're doing like metagaming tiers, like Sierra Nevada, Voodoo Ranger are like C tier, and this is like a fucking A tier beer. This is really good.
So I did, spoiler alert, opened up a Voodoo Ranger, which prominently puts the 7% alcohol on the fucking front of the label. So it's like,
well, people they know who they're marketing to.
If you rotate it every 3 ways, you can always see the alcohol percentage on the can, which is great.
You go in there, you're looking for a cheap buzz.
How little of money can I spend to get the most buzz today?
Hey Jason, did you end up going with anything flavored in malt beveragey?
They didn't have any.
What? Am I the only one?
The first place had a 3-pack of Four Locos for like $12 that were shrink wrapped together. Again, this place was so obsessed with 3-packs. I should have taken a picture of the first 7-Eleven, because they just shrink wrapped singles together. Like, they weren't even in the like the factory plastic stuff that they have. It was just like
DIY 3-packs.
They just took the shit you used to wrap a pallet and they just wrapped fucking 3 beers in it. And they're like, it's
Montana, bro.
Dude, it was whack. But yeah, they had Four Loko in that, and that was it. I was like looking for like a Mike's Harder lemonade or like some fucking bullshit like that, and there was nothing, man.
All right. Well, after I finish this up, I'll wrap up with some fucking bullshit, as you like to put it.
It's kind of sad that you don't have access to good 7-Eleven beers. Like, AM PM has shit beer, and that sounds like your 7-Elevens. And that's
we're the opposite though. The AM PM I go to looked exactly like your selection. They have that singles wall. They have a bunch of stuff. It's good.
Interesting.
I don't know. Like, do you guys build a mental map of all the random gas stations and convenience stores around you, and which ones have the good stuff or not?
Yeah, I do.
Like, this one's got the clean soda machine, so you can actually get a draft soda there without worrying for your health. Like,
I mean, I do that. Like I know, like. Sorry, I'm watching my cat get stuck in something right now. She was like trying to climb a box and it just fell over on her.
Help me.
Anyway, no, like my 7-Eleven has almost everything I want except for the Hershey's cookie and cream bars.
Yes,
like
I do.
White Hershey. So I have to go to AM PM on the other end of the block for that.
Okay.
That's where I'm like, I know which places. So like a lot of gas stations will have, it'll be like Keystone Light, Natural Light, $8.99, but they only have one. They have the sticker for either. And then I got to memorize which ones just have Natural Light. I'm like, well, I don't want Natural Light. That's trash. Keystone Light, King's Beer, Beer of Champions. Natural Light, trash for trash people.
Brewed by Stone Brewing Company.
And so, like I have a mental map of who has what where.
I will say the 7-Eleven that I went to was the place where I purchased the first beer that I checked in on Untapped.
Oh, nice. What beer was that?
Nice.
I'm 90% sure it was a Newcastle.
Okay. That was my first craft beer, like quote unquote craft beer that wasn't I guess it wasn't craft back then because they were probably bought out, but it was something that wasn't light lager. Yeah,
I went over there and I was like, "Oh, go ahead."
Oh, Lemonade called out that some 7-Elevens don't even have alcohol, which is true. When I was in a really shitty part of town, I went to a 7-Eleven in the straight ghetto, and they just didn't have alcohol at all. I was like, "What the fuck is this world?"
That's weird.
Yeah,
I do remember going there and be like, "I've got to test the app, quote unquote," and I got like a 24 pack of PBR for like, I don't know, $9 or something super cheap. I was like, I'm gonna test the app.
You can test it without buying beer, but to make it authentic, you have to buy beer.
Has any beer had a worse 10 years than Newcastle? Like, that beer used to be everywhere. And like, I feel like I don't even know where the fuck I'd get one anymore.
There's 2 Chevron stations by my house. There's the shitty one, and then there's the one that, they have beer. And I call the shitty Chevron station because they're really bad at inventory. And so something new comes in and it's 50-50 whether it's in the system. I'm at the point where I look at the barcode numbers, and because a lot of brands sometimes will make a different beer but put it under the same barcode.
Yeah.
So as long and it rings up. So I'm like, okay, as long as I can read that barcode and it's the same number, then I'm confident that I can pay for it and give them my money to take the beer. And then sometimes it's just not the case. So that's why they're shitty, because they're just bad at like the inventory. But the other Chevron station, they have beer. It's managed by Stone pretty much, and Budweiser, or whatever distributors they use. And they are what they are. And I can go there confidently and buy beer, where with a shitty Chevron station, I cannot confidently buy it.
Man, this New Belgium Voodoo Ranger is not good. Very extremely disappointing. It smells seriously like bike tire a little bit.
Well, it does come from the brewery of Fat Tire, so
it is like dank asparagus.
Oh,
I've never had good luck with those beers.
There's nothing like compared to the Lagunitas, like. Man, this is like 5 steps back, man. This is like, it's not even old school IPA. It's just bad IPA. I don't know what happened in New Belgium, but
a Voodoo Ranger, but this is the Voodoo Juicy Haze. Oops.
I want to say it's notable. I want to go on record. I don't think New Belgium has ever done hoppy beer well.
I don't know. I mean, Ranger, the original Ranger was one of the first IPAs I ever had. And I mean, granted, I guess I should say, like, I thought it was overpowering and crazy because it was one of the first IPAs I ever had. But when I revisited it later, I thought it was pretty solid. But again, that was like the only straight IPA they really had.
Yeah, the old school Ranger IPA before this whole Voodoo Ranger thing, that was the first. That's where Voodoo Ranger came from, Ranger IPA. They just made an IPA, called it Ranger IPA. And that was like a mass market IPA.
To it.
That was a mass market IPA that I thought was really good. It I remember thinking this is one of my favorite IPAs that you can get anywhere. And the Voodoo Ranger series, like Jason brings up a lot, they kind of destroyed that branding by getting so experimental. It's like, why?
Well,
what's
because
Voodoo thing?
They had trends. They had to, I mean, New Belgium got to a point where they were aged out by all the hot up and coming breweries, and you had the hazy craze, and they kind of, I feel like Voodoo Ranger was spun off to try and keep up with the like hazy IPA trends that were going on.
But they did a bunch of other dumb shit too. Like they did that atomic pumpkin beer we had. And then so you would think it's like, okay, Ranger was our IPA. Voodoo Ranger is like our IPA line. I bitch about this every time it comes up, but it's just like, they have like a passion fruit tangerine Berliner Weiss that's called Voodoo Ranger. Like, it's just like, what the fuck? Like there's no rhyme or reason to it at all.
They found some branding that appealed to the mass market, and they just kind of ran with it, which, I mean, happens to the best of companies.
It's man, this is just not good. It's almost like just a drain pour. It's very earthy. It's kind of like Idaho 7 got together and fucked Sabro hop. Like, it's just not my bag of IPA at all.
I mean, I haven't had Fat Tire in a very long time, but Fat Tire was like the best for such a long time, in my opinion.
Tire is a solid beer.
I'm sure it still is, but it's the thing with New Belgium though. Like, I don't know. I remember when they announced that they were bought out, and there were still 12 packs on the shelves of Fat Tire, and they had a big round logo that says employee owned.
Yeah.
And then 2 months later, it was the same logo,
no longer employee owned.
It was just a brand, and to
be fair, I think being employee owned means that when they sold out, all the employees got a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, true. It was. Yeah. I listened to some podcasts. I don't remember which one it was with the founder of New Belgium, and it was it was really interesting to hear about the whole
Kim.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was really interesting to hear about that because it was really like a focus on the employees, and it seemed like when they sold, like everybody seemed to benefit. So I mean, if you put it into the perspective of people who like craft beer can't like macro beer, then it's a negative. But if you look at it from the individualistic sort of standpoint, it's kind of good for the employees because it seemed like everyone at least came out with something.
So, according to very quick Googling, the workers, the employee owners, they shelled out $200 million to all the employees who were also partial owners, and everybody in the company got at least $100,000 when it bought out. So, in that context, it's not just like the owner cashes out with a big pile of money and
fuck you guys.
Right. It's like everybody in the company is like, yo, if we all sell, we all get a big pile of money. And I think they voted to do it too. It was like the employees had a say in if the company sold or not, and they all decided to vote and sell.
It almost seems like an appropriate way to wrap up this show where they sold out, but we can't stop yet because Tim has.
Sorry, that would have been a great spot, but I gotta squeeze this in just because I really want to open it because I need some nostalgia.
I'm
in my
dying
life.
to see this.
So Jason mentioned in our chat about picking up some weird flavored malt shit and stuff, and obviously he had some trouble. So I thought I'd match him and be like, hey, I'm gonna like do something crazy with Jason, and I didn't fall. That fell through. So I ended up picking up Mike's Harder Lemonade.
Harder Lemonade, is it like a higher ABV version of Mike's Hard Lemonade?
This is 8%.
Whoa!
So when you're barfing it comes out extra hard.
So backstory on my relationship with Mike's in college, back in 2005 through 2007. When we had parties, 6 packs of Mike's was like the thing that we had, and the various flavors too. Because I remember there was cranberry, there's something else like that was like what we had. I never drank, like I think I've said this before, but I never drank beer until almost until Untapped was a thing. Like I never really had beer. I had like hard drinks, hard liquor, and malt beverages. So Mike's Hard, I have a soft spot because like that was what we had, and there was a point at which my wife then, at the time, friend, now wife, there was a point at which she drank half of a Mike's Hard Lemonade and then proceeded to put Everclear into the rest of the bottle to create Mike's Harder Lemonade, which is now apparently a thing. So I call trademark infringement on this.
I have a bit of a loose tie to Mike's Hard Lemonade. Back when New Brew Thursday first started, one of our, I think it was it our first on location recordings? It's one of the first, I can't remember. Was at in Hollywood. I forgot, they just closed too because of COVID.
Blue Palms. We did a show with Annette Barron at Blue Palms. She was part of a movie called Beer Wars, Beer Wars Brewed in America. Uh-huh.
And
that movie.
What's that?
Oh, that fucking movie annoyed the shit out of me. Go on.
Yeah, but we got to interview her, and she was basically the reason Mike's Hard Lemonade became so successful. Like she was like head of marketing for that, and ironically, she's allergic to alcohol, so she hasn't even tried it. But she was, yeah. That's my tie-in with Mike's. So I have a history with Mike's as well. But I hate Mike's.
Fun fact about Beer Wars: one of the stories in that they highlighted a couple different brands or whatever, but one of the stories they highlighted was that woman who was like, I was the marketing lady for Sam Adams, and then I made my own brand of shitty lager,
caffeine lager thing,
Moonshot, right? And the fun nail in the coffin of her failed beer brand that she was trying to get off the air or off the ground was when Four Loko got all crazy, and it was like, college kids keep dying of Four Loko. They banned caffeine in beer, and that like coup de grace Moonshot, like the brand was just shitty light lager with caffeine in it, and then they were legally barred from putting caffeine and alcohol, and so they just fucking shut down.
You gotta feel bad a little bit for that.
No, her whole thing was like, instead of making a good beer, what if I have a really good gimmick? And when you base your whole beer on a gimmick instead of quality, then you don't fucking sell. That was the message of the movie, but they didn't try to push that message. It was like, big beer's keeping the little guy out. It's like, this lady made a shitty gimmick beer that wasn't good, and nobody wanted to drink it because it tasted bad.
No, I definitely caught on to that with the documentary. It's not like I was, of course, it was, she was selling a gimmick, not a good craft beer. Tim's holding up his glass to the camera.
It looks like seltzer.
Yeah.
That's a product seltzer you do not put into a glass.
It's like a hazy.
Yeah. No, you don't want to see this.
Clear.
I drank the like, Truly lemonade, and it looks exactly like that.
This is LA tap water right here.
Oh God!
It's literally gray. Like,
isn't LA water a cocktail? It's like an adios, but instead of blue, you put green in it.
That would be, if I find that, that's amazing. I've never heard that, but I'm
pretty sure if you order an LA water, it's like a Long Island iced tea, but instead of putting Coke and sour mix, they put Midori in it, so it turns it bright green.
I'm not even sure how to describe how this smells.
I would hope lemonade.
It just smells like sweet water, like just sucrose water, and the taste. There's very little lemon in the flavor. It's pretty terrible. This is overall just like no. I'm not even gonna drink that. It's done. It's done.
Wait, you didn't drink it?
Take a sip.
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
The flavor is not out here. Proof.
Chug.
No. It's like lightly. It's like, honestly, it's like warm Sprite.
We got to end the show with John slamming the rest of that Bud Ice can to the head.
No, not gonna happen.
Come on, John.
I'll do it with my Sapporo.
All right, if I do it, we all have to do one thing of whatever's left. Maybe not. Tim has to pee.
I'm out. I'm out.
I'm done.
No chance. There's so much left in here.
We've got to pump the market for these beers by chugging it and driving the number up.
I got to get my can. Hang on.
I don't know what he's doing, but
if any show's going to end with us chugging a beer, this is it.
I have my rest of my Lagunitas.
Chug an IPA. That'd be amazing.
Guys, there's a lot left in this can.
Yeah,
it's a 25 ounce can. It's got the bonus 1 ounce. So
be a
1 ounce for daddy.
And for the record, this was my least favorite beer of this session, and now I have to chug it.
That's why you get rid of it quick.
So
just put it in the dome.
Jason and Greg, are we going to do this for real?
No. This is all I have left is like 2 ounces
of everything you bought.
No. I'm not going to chug an 805.
That's what we're doing.
I'm not going to do that. No.
Jason's leg will fall off.
I need at least
I have to do
3
some
or
home
4
plumbing after this. So,
all right, I guess it's me and Jason.
I'll drink it. How's that?
I'll drink some.
Solidarity.
All right, solidarity.
Cheers.
Here we go.
It's the only time we're all gonna have tall cans.
First one down.
I can't do it.
Nope.
Burn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. Oh.
Somebody clip that.
This Eckies was fine.
Somebody clip that for the Twitch.
John's
face.
Oh, I'm crying.
John's face looks like a baby that had avocado for the first time.
Oh man. Chugging from a can is so much gassier than chugging from a glass because it
that's why you get snorkel
agitates it. Yeah.
Yeah. You need like a beer bong or something. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's hope that we did a little bit of good for bumping some of these brands and
7-Eleven.
There we go.
Oh, thank you.
7-Eleven's going to get the 4B bump. And now they're going to go up to 11,000 locations in California.
Yeah. All right. Stopping.
Oh man,
that was.
I haven't chugged a beer in a long time. That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm not a chugger.
Not with that attitude, Greg.
So where's Dogecoin at this point?
See, now you're going to get obsessed and you're going to check it every hour, like people that I know that are into crypto.
It'll fade after a week or two, and I'll lose my $20, and 10 years from now I'll be a billionaire. So
hey, perfect. Well, don't forget about the little guys when you do.
I won't. If I make $1 million, I'll give each of you $100,000. How about that?
Okay,
Shucks.
noted.
We have it recorded somewhere.
Yeah,
Milo, it's all yours.
I'll blow it all on hats.
Hats.
You don't wear hats, do you? Oh, you do wear.
I do wear hats a lot more lately because I haven't had a haircut since fucking May.
I just got a haircut
since
yesterday.
January.
Mom gave me a haircut. I look like Matt Skiba with my haircut because I'm kind of balding right here. But
dude, I like how that random guy on YouTube is better at singing Blink than Matt Skiba is.
What's
They
that?
should hire that guy. There's that YouTube guy I've shared that does like songs in the style of Blink 182. He does he sounds just
Jason, not to interrupt you, but Greg and Tim are sharing their like Jesus Christ. Tim,
Exactly.
You have one.
Yeah, he's got like
Jason, Greg, show your hair again, because Jason.
Oh, mine's like.
I think Jason and Greg are kind of the same.
That's pretty good, Greg.
Greg's hair is longer than mine. But...
Jason just looks like an emo kid.
Dear diary, mood, apathetic.
I've had
Yvonne cut my hair yesterday, and she does a pretty decent job. She forgets every time how to cut my hair, and so I have to go in and like kind of fix things and trim it up. Because I still have to go in public, like into buildings and stuff without a hat. And,
I've had probably one trim in the last 6 years.
I can see that.
Yeah, you got some long hair, bro.
Yeah.
When like you're a tall person too. You're like 6+?
It's
like,
just 6.
You're really?
Yeah.
I feel like you're taller than me because I'm 6 foot tall.
I don't know. I haven't measured myself recently, but I always go with 6.
Taller than 6 foot tall. Because like with the hair, it's just like a whole. It's kind of
Jason's so emo.
I can actually see pretty well, surprisingly.
When my hair gets long,
Look
I
at
look
shepherd dog.
And so, like I said, Yvonne cuts my hair. So after she finishes cutting my hair and we clean up and I take a shower, she typically looks at it and she goes, "I did a good job." I'm like, "Yeah, you did a pretty good job." And she goes, "You don't look as creepy anymore." And I'm like, "I know.
Creepy.
When my hair gets long, I look like a fucking creep. I look like a pedophile. Dude. Like picture a pedophile in your head. That's me with long hair. I do not look good.
Someone cut that one out, please. Picture a pedophile in your head. That's me.
No,
I will say that
extremely greasy hair. It just does not look good. But when I have like short hair, it works.
Yeah.
St. Bernards have like the little whiskey thing on their thing. Why is that like a human thing that I can wear just some whiskey around my neck?
I think it's a
Nickel thoughts,
isn't it? It's like a fancy like I feel like it's brandy.
All right. Still, why can't I have that around my neck at all times?
I mean, nobody stopped you.
Tiny casks.
And
all right. Well,
the technology's improved.
On that note, I will see you guys later.
Later, Tim.
Thanks so much. What was that?
You're doing a walkthrough, right?
Yeah, trying to. And then I got to pick up some food. We have a tapas mezcal pairing dinner.
What?
Yeah, there's a. So there's been,
invited.
I think I mentioned it. There's like this food festival going on. It's actually, I think it ended yesterday, but there's one more tonight. So we're picking up this this restaurant in Highland Park is doing a like a tapas, like 3 tapas items paired with 3 separate mezcals. So it should be interesting.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah,
Are you taking that home or going to the restaurant?
We're gonna pick it up and bring it back home. It's all like takeout.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we've done quite a few over the past 10 days actually, so it's been pretty cool.
What a cool way to support your local thing.
Exactly. I think the cool thing is too is it was set up and it's additionally it's all women-owned businesses, so it's this whole it's a bunch of places too, so it's been really fun. Unfortunately, it's over now, but it was really cool to support all these local places.
Hey, did you guys ever watch You're the Worst?
No.
On Netflix?
It was on FX, but yeah, it's streaming on wherever now.
The like fake 2020 recap documentary thing?
No, there was like a show called You're the Worst that was on for like 4 seasons.
No.
It was really good. They're doing a reunion thing today. I just found out. I was like, oh, You're the Worst is great.
Netflix did some 2020 recap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I saw that. That was
all right.
It was funny and also very disturbing at the same time.
Yeah, that's the
point.
point.
It was funny if you were ready to laugh at 2020.
I was running while I was watching it, so I couldn't laugh.
You're like
just turned into crying. Stop.
All right, guys. I'll see you later.
Yeah,
Bye.
We'll see you guys. I already uploaded.
Yep, samesies.
If you're still on the live stream, thank you for watching. We are ending this broadcast. Have a good week. Stay safe and wear a mask.
Thank you for the biddies.
Next episode.